Hi friends, welcome back to the Vintage Raven. Today I'm starting a little mini series, 3-part episode of sewing my Vintage Summer Capsule Wardrobe. Resewing my Vintage Summer Capsule Wardrobe. I know in the last video I hinted that I was going to be sewing Practical Magic inspired wardrobe to follow the last video of doing a Practical Magic inspired sewing room, but I have a little bit more of an immediate need for summer. In past summers, I've worn a wardrobe that I have sewn over the years, and I almost strictly ever wore shorts that I sewed. Problem is, I no longer fit in them. I'm perfectly fine with that, but I need new shorts. So right now I'm currently depending on really itty bitty yoga shorts, which are not really my thing.
These sweatpants are all that fits me right now.
I live in the very sunny and very humid Florida, which means comfort comes first before we get to glam. So when it comes to pieces that I sew, I'm very intentional about the type of patterns that I use and the type of fabrics that I use. They need to be breathable, they need to be light, and they need to be comfortable. This capsule will focus on everyday classic vintage, something that's timeless that I can mix and match with some of my modern pieces. So I'll be using a mix of patterns that I've used in the past. I'm gonna try some new vintage reproduction patterns, some authentic vintage patterns, and I want to dive a little bit into indie pattern making companies. All right, whoa. So here are my fabric choices, and believe it or not, these all came from my stash. I did not shop for a single thing. So in this video, I'm gonna make it quick. It's going to be about the planning process and what patterns and fabrics I chose and why. So when it comes to fabric choices, there are a couple things to consider. First is the fiber, and next is the weave. So when it comes to fibers, you want natural fibers, and that's usually the blanket statement that everyone says, just choose natural fibers. But it's a little bit more complicated than that because you do not want to be wearing wool in Florida. You just don't. Unless you're in Central Florida in winter, then yeah, sure, wear some wool. But for the most part, you want to stay away from wool. Cotton and linen are the first ones that come to mind, and you can do cotton and linen blends, which are softer. I find that pure linen fibers tend to be a little scratchy and a little stiffer, but if you throw in a little bit of cotton, it will be lighter and it'll be softer. Other things to consider is linen and cotton that is blended with naturally derived fibers, but they're kind of chemically produced. So we're talking about rayons and a lyocell, for example. There are a couple that I'm going to list right here that are natural and they're derived from natural like cotton and linen fibers. It's kind of like the byproduct of processing cotton and linen, and then they like just do some chemical things to it, and you get that. So when you mix the rayon and the lyocell, which is a lot drapier, a lot softer, with the cotton and linen, that's kind of like the perfect Florida fabric. The second very important factor that you want to consider when it comes to choosing breathable fabrics for a hot, humid summer is the weave. So the weave, if you don't know, is how those fibers come together to make the fabric. So you want weaves that have threads that are thinner and further apart. So if you have if you think of like sheet count, for example, like a bed, like thread count, sheet count, thread count. The more thread counts, the softer it is, but the tighter the weave. So you want lesser thread count, which most bolts of fabric are not going to give you a thread count, but you can see it if you're shopping in person based on how transparent it is, and if you can see the weaves that are woven in together a little further apart. So the further apart it is, the more air can flow through your garment and the lighter and breezier it is. So you're looking for the fiber content and you're looking for the type of weave. So I'm going to start off strong, and I'm going to show these two. This is a 100% cotton from Fabric Mart. So Fabric Mart is located in Hawaii. I think there are about 5. I had the privilege to go 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, some time ago, to Hawaii for a work trip, and I decided to take a little detour and visit Fabric Mart. And it is a tropical fabric paradise, okay? I have never seen a fabric store with so many tropical prints and so many cotton prints. And there's a difference between quilting cotton and cotton that's for apparel. Quilting cotton is a lot thicker, and it's great to practice with. It's great when you want like a nice sturdy garment, but you want breathable garment that you can sweat through. You want something that's a lot lighter. This is a lot lighter. It's a lot thinner, and well, you can't see it, but it's a little more see-through. It lets a lot more light in than a quilting cotton would. I have like 3 yards of this, okay? By the way, you can shop Hawaii Fabric Mart online. No, this is not sponsored. I just really want to see them survive, and I want to see them grow, and it'd be amazing if we can see them in the mainland of the United States, because the shipping is quite pricey. But if you decide you want to buy like 4 or 5 prints, like fabric prints, or, you know, like shop with a friend, which I've done in the past, where I've like called her and like, hey, I want to buy like this one print from Hawaii Fabric Mart. Do you want to buy anything? That way it all ships all at once. You get it, and we're good. This one I'm not going to be using for this project, but this is a rayon blend. Look at it, look at it. It's a lot drapier. Let me see if I can like, it's so hard to show on camera just how drapey it is. But look at the saturation on this print. Look at how vibrant it is. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I have 3 yards of this, and I'll be using it for a 1950s dress. But this also came from Hawaii Fabric Mart, and I could not pass it up. Again, very privileged to have been there and to have shopped there, because believe it or not, Florida does not have a fabric store that I know of. If you know of it, please drop it in the comments. I want to know, and I'll like take a pilgrimage there. But I just haven't seen that wide of a selection here. Up next, I'm diving into a collection of linen that I bought over in Joann Fabrics. And I will remember you. About half my fabric stash came from Joann Fabrics, because it was the only fabric store that I knew of in my area. And at that time, I was living really like in the middle of nowhere in Orlando, and I was not aware of Fabric Sewing Studio. I am now. So all of my fabric I would just buy from Joann. So I have this like ridiculously large collection of really heavy linens from Joann. This is actually one of the muslins that I'm already working on for the tops, and I can't find the actual fabric for it. But I have a bunch of colors of their collection of linens that's a little thicker, a little scratchier. And I figured, you know what, let me use it up. And if I like to wear it, then that's great. If I don't, then, you know, I tried. Also from Joann Fabrics is this. You guys, if you've shopped in Joann Fabrics, you will recognize this print. This is from the shirting section, which the shirting section was always like this big, okay? In my area, I think I had 4 different Joann that I would just go around, like they were all like an hour away from me. So if I felt like, I'm just gonna try this one today because I wanna shop around the area, I'll go to that one. They all had like the same amount of shirting fabrics, just like this much, right? And this was one that was there all the time. I don't even remember when I bought this. I wanna say it was like 8 years ago. And I'm finally diving into it, and I'm making a little wrap top, rockabilly top with it. I have another linen blend. This one, however, is on the lighter side. This one is from Fabric Studio. It's actually the very first fabric I bought at Fabric Studio, and I have 3 yards of it as well. I don't know why I always get 3. I always assume I'm going to make like a large circle skirt, and then I don't, and I end up with way too much extra fabric. This one is a little lighter. You can even see it's a little flowier. This is a cotton and linen blend. And it's very textured, so I don't know how it's gonna feel on my skin, but I was planning to make some shorts out of it. And I can probably even get a pair of like linen palazzo pants out of this too. I have this little bit of cotton seersucker that I have left. This is from Minerva Fabrics and it was gifted to me, and I made a dress out of it, and I'll put it right here. And it's one of the things I reach for all the time, not because I think it looks like the cutest and not because I think the pattern is amazing, but like I just go around Disney wearing it. I go around parks wearing it. I go to like, it's so breathable and light and airy and is 100% cotton. And the secret with that is that it's seersucker. So I'll put a little definition of what seersucker is. Seersucker was worn a lot in vintage times to help wick away moisture and to keep the garment breathable. Last but not least, I am going slightly polyester. This is a polyester rayon blend, and it's got some elastic to it, some stretch to it. I wanted to make a little like gray army green, not gray. I wanted to make a little green play suit out of this because it's drapey. I wanted to make a little wrap to go with it. Onto patterns. Okay, so I have some favorite tops that I've done in the past. Beautiful little crop tops with beautiful little buttons and zippers and all that stuff, and it's great when I was that size, but none of them allowed room to grow or room to just body alterations. You know what I mean? Like lose weight, you gain weight, it's bound to happen, it's going to happen, it's inevitable, and I'm fine with that. But it's really frustrating when you make something no longer closes because it was just way too exact for your body. That's how I used to sew. Now I want to create pieces that will fluctuate with my body size over time to a certain degree. When I'm thinking about doing a quick and easy wardrobe that I can sew very quickly in just a couple hours, I'm thinking about patterns that don't have buttons and don't have zippers. I'm thinking about either patterns that are structured but loose, or wraps, or just things that tie in different places. It allows you to adjust over time, and it allows for room to get a little bit more comfortable and a quicker sew. So with that in mind, the first one up is the vintage wrap. I think it's called it's called the 1002 Rockabilly Wrap Top. This is from the 1950s. Ain't she cute? And I got a little bit inspired by Liz Von Villas. She's sewn a couple of these and she has some videos on tutorials on how to do this. It is a wrap that wraps around the back and ties around the front, which is great. It has, I will tell you right now, 4 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 steps. I'm excited about that. Up next is an indie pattern company called Stitch Witch, and I'm going to be sewing the Atlas top. So this reminds me of the tops in the 1960s that were like crop tops. They weren't form-fitting and had a high neckline, but this one has a little bit of a modern twist. So the other pattern that I wanted to use, which is for the green fabric, is a wrap top by Mimi G. I have the original wrap top here. I sewed it when I was a beginner. I sewed this in like 3 hours. So I want to know how fast I can sew it now because it doesn't have any lining. Does it have darts? Does it have darts? It doesn't have a single dart. It almost has a full sleeve, but there's actually a stitch in the sleeve, but it's a cylinder. It's not your typical sleeve shape that has that curve in the top. So it's very easy to attach, but I'm not going to be attaching a sleeve. I'm going to have it be short sleeve. It's just a couple pieces. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. So 3 pattern pieces, 5 fabric pieces. And it just ties in the front, and it's beautiful, and it's fast, and it's drapey, and it's perfect for shows. And it's perfect for summer. When it comes to the bottoms, I sewed so many of these. This is by Gertie. So this is patterns by Gertie with Butterick before she had her charmed pattern launch. So she has her own collection of shorts that she has developed over years through charmed patterns. But before that, she had this one. And I've sewn 6 of these. Not a single one of them closes because there is no elastic, there is no gathering in the back. What I plan to do with this one is trace out a pattern, size it up 2 sizes, and I'm gonna gather in the back, so just a little bit. So between the darts, I would remove the darts completely, but between where the darts are supposed to be, I'm gonna put a little elastic and do a little gathering in the back. That way, I don't have to worry about resewing an entire summer wardrobe all over again just 3 years later. The other pattern that I'm going to use, I don't have the pattern with me, but I have the pattern pieces. So this is Simplicity 8457. I traced this out quite a few times. This is a trouser. So what I love about this particular pattern is that there is a ton of ease in this pattern already. And I have a traced out pattern that fits me just fine. It's a little snug right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to, instead of removing the ease when I sew, I'm going to add it into the gathering in the back, just like I plan to do for the other one. So this one is a little more, this one's a little looser than the other one. The other one is more of a fitted short and more of a 50s cut. This one has 2 pleats in the front that make it a trouser, and it has pockets. Ooh, and I also plan to add pockets to this one. And for that one, I'm going to use more of a drapey kind of fabric. And then last but not least, I am not sure if I'm going to get to this one, but it's been in my pattern stash for the longest time. Look how cute it is.
This is so pretty.
And this one has buttons onto the side. This is I want to say it's 1940s pattern. What does this say? It doesn't have a date, but it's you can find this pattern on Etsy. It's a Lady Marlowe pattern. The only problem is I purchased this when I was 2 sizes smaller, and this comes in one singular size. So unlike modern day patterns that have multiple sizes in the patterns, these many times came in a singular size, and this is a digitized original pattern. Does that make sense? So basically what Lady Marlowe has done is that she scanned or redrafted the original pattern piece so she can digitize it and sell it to you, which is fantastic. And the instructions are a photocopy of the original instructions from the original pattern. And that wraps up part 1 of my Vintage Summer Capsule Wardrobe series. I hope you enjoyed this mini breakdown, and if you're sewing your own summer capsule wardrobe, I hope some of this information is useful for you. If you live in hot, humid locations, please let me know down in the comments what are your favorite fabrics and what are your favorite patterns. I'd love to hear from you. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification button so you can watch part 2, where I'm going to be sewing all the tops of this wardrobe. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel grow. Until next time, bye.